Hey, welcome back to the Walking Life Journey podcast, where we explore powerful words that shape our lives, fuel our growth, and inspire us to become the best versions of ourselves. I am Nikita.
I'm Keandra.
And together, we make the White Family. For those that are listening to this podcast for the very first time, we want to say it's a pleasure to be surrounding you in your space. And those that continue to follow, like, share, comment, and have committed to the WLJ community, we appreciate you more than words can explain. Where can they find us?
You can find us on Spotify, Apple, Google, Amazon, YouTube, and also TikTok.
Yes. Now we have an exciting word for you this week, and that word is
self-discovery.
Self-discovery. Two simple words, but a lifelong journey. Whether you're just starting to ask, who am I? Or even been peeling back the layers for years, this episode right here is for you. You want to do this together?
Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's get clear right away. Self-discovery is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been before the world told you who you had to be.
Yes, I love that because I feel like as we grow, as we get older,
we put on masks.
Yes. And we start to lose sight of who we were. And sometimes it's about remembering what used to make us laugh when we were younger. The smallest things, like our dreams at that point before society kind of dimmed our light.
And that can happen definitely just by life situations that you might encounter. So when you think about self-discovery, it is peeling back the labels and standing in your truth, even if your voice shakes. Sometimes you got to stand boldly and say, this is who I am, no matter what's happening, no matter if my voice shaking, no matter if it's cracking. Sometimes that little frog trying to get in your throat to make you stop talking, and you're like, nope, palms can be sweaty and all, but I am in the phase of self-discovery. Can we call out a few lies that people have told you about self-discovery? Can we do that? Can we knock out some of these lies that we've been told as we walk this journey called life?
Yeah, one of them for sure is you only go through it once. That is definitely not true. That is not true.
That's not true at all. You can definitely rediscover yourself every time life changes. If there's a new season, a new challenge, a new dream. Think about that. If you only go through self-discovery once, what happens when you become a new mom? What happens when you become an empty nester? Sometimes you got to figure out who you are when those things are no longer there. So that's a lie.
Yes.
I like it. Give us another lie.
Another lie is that self-discovery means you have all the answers.
That's a lie. No truth in that. Nope. Self-discovery, it means you're asking better questions. You don't have all the answers. You just know how to ask better questions, and you can stand bold in your questions, not worried about what anybody say because you asked a question. Give us another one.
And another one is that it's supposed to be peaceful and perfect.
That's a lie. Self-discovery is messy, is raw, and sometimes it's lonely. But it also is sacred. You figure out who you are at this journey on your life.
Yes, it's really like being in a relationship with yourself. Just like in friendships or in with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you're trying to always figure out like who that person is, get to know them. But self-discovery is about getting to know yourself and knowing what makes you happy along your journey.
I like that because you brought it up. What sparks this whole self-discovery journey? Sometimes we feel like, oh, I got to find myself again in a breakup. Sometimes you got to find yourself when you get to a new job. Y'all, I don't want you to look at self-discovery like that. I want you to own who you are as an individual, understanding that, yes, that breakup will hurt and it will make you adjust and realign your priorities. That new job, you can't walk on to your new job doing the same things you were doing on your old job. For instance, if you work at McDonald's for your past job, you can't walk into McDonald's with a Burger King uniform on. You gotta adjust. You gotta adjust. I mean, think about when you lose someone, you have to adjust. When you're so used to having that person in your life and they're no longer there, you have to adjust. I talked about when you become a parent, you have to adjust.
Yes. It's a constant journey. And it's funny because I think back from when I was younger, I thought, oh, when I turn 18, like, I know who I am. Like, I always thought, like, I knew who I was until I started hitting these certain points. I look back like, do I? I've kind of, like, lost who I was. But as I feel like I've been going on a self-discovery journey since I was, like, 15, 16. And the fact that it's, like, something new every year, just rediscovering what you love, really truly knowing who you are. It's a long journey, I feel like.
Self-discovery often begins where comfort ends. And so you talked about, I feel like I've been on this self-discovery journey since I was 15. Is sometimes that comfort ends because you have new friendships. You might have breakups. You might have life changes of a move. Anything can happen. So it says self-discovery often begins when comfort ends.
Yes, I feel like it was those like key moments, like, okay, when I turned 16, when I turned 18, 21, now about to be 25 is like, who am I again? Now I feel like I should be in womanhood. So
I like how you put
milestones.
That. You put that self-discovery with those milestones.
Yes.
Knowing that at this age, I should be like this, or this age I'm discovering what I'm going to be doing at 25. And I like that because that's change. And truthfully, when you think about your self-discovery journey, who you were at 16 when you had the sweet 16 is definitely not the same person you're going to be when you're 25 and you're like, exactly, as you say, your womanhood.
Exactly. And even I know you, my mama, and I've been looking at you, up to you all this time. I think back, like, you weren't the same person in your 20s as you are now. So
no, I was not. I am not. That's self-discovery, knowing that truthfully you're this person and you have been this person since birth. We just have to align with our purpose for real in life, and that's part of that self-discovery journey. That's part of that. How do you start this journey? If you're questioning yourself, like, okay, we're talking about self-discovery journey, Keandra, what can they do to just kind of start this journey for themselves?
I feel like in the beginning it's really taking time to yourself. I feel like when you said self-discovery often starts in the uncomfortable situations, sometimes it's when you have to step away from some people and really have your alone time so you don't have any distractions to really find out who you are and what you like for yourself.
I like that. I think one of the things that we've been listening to probably this year that I've heard it over and over and over is silence the noise.
Yes.
I think the first time we heard it was a song being sung in church, and it was silence the noise. And that was a good reminder of so many times as we're walking this journey called life, things can come and just interrupt and interfere with where we need to be. So make sure that we silence, turn down the noise so you can hear your own voice.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to have to say this because as soon as I said that statement, it came up. We just wrote a book called Overcoming the Loudest Voice in the Room. So when we say silence, turn down the noise so you can hear your own voice. In this self-discovery journey, we want to make sure your voice is speaking great things to you.
Yes, definitely great things.
And that's what Overcoming the Loudest Voice is about, is making sure you turn out anything that's negative so that you can focus on the positive. Okay, give them another tip. What else can they do on this journey?
Another tip, since she just brought up our journal, another tip is definitely journaling. Really just writing how you feel, writing what's real. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be pretty. Just writing the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I like it. This is another tool that I will always pull out of my toolbox, but I always say, don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck there. So reflection, not regret. Look back to learn, not to beat yourself up. So it's okay to look back and say, oh my gosh, look how far I have come. But I don't want you to look back and be like, dang, are those all the missed opportunities I've had? Don't do that.
Yes, don't look back to nitpick and, like you said, go down a regret funnel or whatever.
Yep. Don't go down the funnel, y'all.
That's why journaling is good too, because you can look back at your old journals and be like, wow, this was my mindset back then. I've came so far from that. I can't believe I was really feeling that. Or just when we go down memory lane looking at photos, it's like, oh, look how young we were. Look where we were. Look what we were doing back then. We look for completely different things now, type of thing. So it's definitely good to reflect.
Yes, not regret. And the last tip that I would like to make sure we leave with you guys for going on that self-discovery journey is make sure you ask yourself questions. It's nothing wrong with asking yourself questions like, what do I need right now?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need right now? What lights me up? Keandra just shared that what we used to do don't necessarily feed us at this level right now sometimes. So you got to ask yourself, what is it that lights me up right now? Who am I when no one's watching? Who am I when no one's watching? And what am I avoiding? That's what am I avoiding? When you can figure out what you're avoiding on your journey, now you're on your way to your self-discovery. Okay. Because I promise you, when you start asking yourself those questions, you're going to discover something about yourself.
You are.
You're going to discover something about yourself. When you commit to self-discovery, don't be surprised when you outgrow places that used to feel like home. What else?
When you find strength in your silence.
Oh my gosh. When you actually find strength in your silence. When you realize you were never too much, just in the wrong environment.
Ooh.
Right. Because if you have been on this journey with us, you have heard me say things like, I was challenged when someone shared, you're just too much. You're too loud. You're too this. And if I would have took that one person's advice, oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I would be messed up and trying to be on this whole new journey of self-discovery, because who I am is loud. Who I am is I might do too much. Who I am is that person is going to check in on you and just be there to support.
Really never feel like you're too much for anyone, because someone might say you're too much and someone might say, oh, I just love your energy. Like, I just love you. Don't dim for nothing. So never say you're too much for anything.
Never. And guess what? You might just be surprised that it's time for you to stop apologizing for wanting more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more on this journey. Sometimes we grow up and the things that we now desire weren't desires in our past because we didn't know. When you learn, you know better, you do better.
Mm-hmm.
You know better, you do better. So this journey doesn't always look like success. Sometimes it looks like solitude. Sometimes it looks like we're in our healing season.
Yes.
And sometimes it is letting go.
Letting go. This journey is about being happy more than anything. Being happy.
I love how you talked about being happy, because what is happiness? Some people put their happiness in, as long as I got this job, as long as I got this car, when those things are no longer there, can you still find happiness in the nothing?
See, it's about the happiness in the nothingness. It's about the happiness within yourself. No matter the job, no matter the money, even though those things are great, but the true happiness.
The true happiness. So Keandra, you just took us right into a challenge for all of our listeners for the week. You took us into a challenge because anything we do, we want to make sure you're able to get something out of this. So here's your challenge of the week. I need you to stand in front of a mirror. Look at yourself in the eyes and say, I give myself permission to evolve.
Okay.
Give yourself permission to evolve, to grow, to change. I'm not who I was, and that's okay. I'm not who I was, and that's okay. Tell those folks, stop trying to hold you back to who you were in 7th grade and look at you for who you are now. And you're going to say, I'm allowed to discover new layers of me, and I love each one.
I love that. That's a good challenge. That's a really good challenge.
Do you know how hard it is for people just to look at themselves in the mirror? They can look at themselves to put on makeup, or they look like right past the things of like, no, I'm gonna look this girl eye to eye, and say what you need to say.
Yes, or people look at themselves and automatically feel like they have to criticize. But no, for this challenge, you just look at yourself and encourage yourself, really. And even if you don't believe it, say it until you do believe it.
Say it until you believe it. Say it until it settles in your bones. Say it. Say it with your chest. Own it. Mean it, you guys. Because self-discovery is sacred. It's not about being perfect. It's about being honest.
Yes, honest with yourself.
And I do believe the more you meet yourself, the more the world around you begins to change.
Yeah, I feel like you start to see the world in a different lens, from a different perspective type of thing.
I agree. So guess what? Take that trip you've been wanting to do. Read that book that you've been wanting to read. Talking about reading books, my goddaughter introduced me to her favorite author, and I've been listening to her book, and it's definitely one good one that she added to my list. So read that book. Take some time. It doesn't always have to be rush, busy. Sometimes you can find yourself in a good book that will help you just be like, oh my gosh, is this story about me? So read that book. Say no when you mean it. We've been talking about this. No is what?
No.
Complete sentence. That's right. No is a complete sentence. Cry if you need to. Laugh out loud and dream again. Somewhere you've lost your dreams. Somewhere you lost your desires. Go pick them back up.
Yes, you're never too old to have a dream.
Because self-discovery doesn't end when you figure out who you are. Because what I know is you can evolve. There's things that happen and you can change and you can adjust. And what once fed you will be like, I am not even interested in this anymore. I'm not even interested. So, self-discovery begins when you choose to be you, fully, freely, and apologetically.
Unapologetically you.
Unapologetically you. I like it. Great. So we say thank you for walking this journey with us today. If this episode stirred something up in you, make sure you share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you leave a comment. Make sure you join us on our social media platforms. Because I promise you, you can get a daily reminder. Because sometimes I pop up and I say, hey. Somebody needs to hear this today. So make sure you connect with us on all social media platforms. And we are here to remind you that your story matters.
Yes, your story matters. And remember, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are right on time.
Until next time, keep walking with us, keep discovering yourself with us, and always remember, as you walk this journey called life, you are the key piece to your story.